Olá, bem-vindos à Entrevista à Portuguesa. Estamos aqui com Ephraim Birney. Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Is there a name of the show? Maybe should I be, I don't know, shouting out to all the listeners?
It's Entrevista à Portuguesa, which in English is uh, Portuguese interview in a way. We use it a lot
Okay.
with cooking. For example, when you have something that is traditional from Portugal, we say the course in a portuguesa. So we
Oh,
just joke with
okay.
that.
Well, I hope you're not expecting me to do any cooking on
No,
the
no,
internet.
it's okay. I can't really cook either, so it wouldn't work.
Well, it's great to meet you, Sophie.
It's great to meet you too, really. So my first question for you is, what's your favorite thing about acting?
Sure, that's a great question. I think I would say when it comes to acting, my favorite thing about it is sort of I guess the puzzle in a way, right? You have this whole map ahead of you of things that you're supposed to say, but nobody really tells you how you're supposed to say them or why you're supposed to say them. And so it's this kind of fun puzzle of figuring out, okay, this makes sense here if the play is written well or the script is written well. This makes sense here because of this. And now I have to figure out how to repeat that over and over again. Get it to
Yeah,
be as good as it possibly can every time.
that's awesome. That's a great way to see it. I've spoken with a few actors, and that's the first time I hear it, and it's really interesting. Uh,
Yeah, well, I hope that I think there's a lot of ways. Everybody has different reasons for wanting to be an actor, right? And I think everybody's, people might say, "Oh, I like to do the characters," or "I like to do," it's a very social job, so maybe there's something in that. Um, but for me, it's always been kind of I guess, sort of the challenge of maintaining it and figuring it out. I think I'm a sucker for a mystery, right?
yeah. And did you always want to be an actor, or was it ever a time in your life where you wanted to be something else?
When I was much, much younger, I wanted to be a zookeeper. I wanted to, when I was maybe, 10 years old, I wanted to work with animals. And, my family has all sorts of pets and animals. So I guess in some ways I kind of did become a zookeeper. But I think for most of my life, I have wanted to be an actor. Everybody in my family is an actor. And so it makes sense that kind of, I don't know, we all sort of came into it together.
Yeah. And what has been so far your favorite acting experience?
Sure. I mean, there's lots of, it might be kind of tricky to pick one. Um, I did a play with my dad in New York. It was the third time that we've done it, because we did it in all sorts of different other places in the States. Um, but it was a very special experience for me, because how often do you get to work with your father, right?
Yeah.
um, and to be able to do what both of us think is one of the best things that we can do, right? um, I kept comparing it to those little Italian family villas, right? Where they
Yeah.
make the ricotta in the morning, and they get up, and the father's churning, and the son is doing something else. I don't know. It's maybe not a perfect analogy, but it felt very personal to me. The play was called Chester Bailey.
I read about it. I saw your article on with your
Oh
father
yeah, in the Times,
in the
yeah.
Times. Yeah, I really loved it. It was great
Great.
reading it and seeing, your take on the play and doing it together.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, Sophie, that you checked it out and you read it. That's, you did your homework.
Of course I do. It's
Yeah.
work here.
Yeah, no, I could tell.
And on that same work, I went to research a little bit, and I've seen you haven't worked, I think, either with your mother or your sister.
Say it again. I was cutting out for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't worry
Um,
about that.
I was saying on that work that I did, I saw that you haven't yet worked with your mother or your sister, and is that something you want to do in the future?
Of course, I would love to do that in the future. It's funny coming up in the next month or so. I'm supposed to do a short film, and my mom will be in it with me doing that. So that'll be kind of fun to do. I haven't ever really worked with Gus. Um, about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. I wrote and produced and directed a pilot film, a pilot of a TV show, and I put Gus as one of the main characters in it. So I kind of worked with her like that, but it was, it was limited, and I would love to act with her too, because she's amazing. If you don't know anything if you don't know Gus Birney, you will, because she's just spectacular.
I do actually. I met you through her, and then I saw your work, and
Mhm.
I'm so thankful I did. I saw her in Dickinson. It's my favorite show. I have it tattooed, a reference here. So
Oh
I love
wow,
her.
that's amazing. That's crazy. No, well, her character in Dickinson is very similar to the thing that I had her do in what I wrote. It's kind of a mean girl that's maybe
Yeah,
a little nicer than she lets on.
it's a really great character. I have to check out the show.
Yeah, well, we'll find a way. We put it on YouTube a while back, but it's if you look at my YouTube account, it's like Bellhop Productions. It's on there, and you can see Gus for it. She's much younger. It's funny to see. She's still got the blonde hair, but she's little.
I'm going to check it out. I read about it, but I didn't find it. I should have checked YouTube.
Don't worry. We might not have posted it at that point either.
So you grew up in a family of actors, as you were saying, and I want to ask you if there was ever like, did you ever feel any pressure to either become an actor or even the opposite effect? Like, did it ever made you not want to be an actor? Because, for example, my parents are both teachers, and
Hmm.
teaching, because of hearing them about their experience throughout the years, teaching is like at the bottom of things I want to do. How was it for you?
It's funny. Yeah, no, my parents are both, as you said, my parents are both actors. But my mom took about a 15-year break from really doing it when we were growing up, because she wanted to just focus on being a mom. And throughout most of my childhood, my dad was kind of like an out of work actor. Like nobody was really hiring him for things. And so in some ways you're right, it would probably be like, well, I've seen how tough it can be. Why would I want to do it? But it's the kind of thing where you see, for one, you see how happy it makes the people around me, and my family members, and also the people that watch it, how much joy it brings everybody involved. But also, there is something to it, right? Where you watch your dad, and he's not doing, maybe he's not doing the work that he wants to do, or in some ways he feels like he's not working enough, but he's still trying, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so special to him, and he's still trying. And so in a way, you do kind of catch that bug, right? You're like, well, that's so inspiring. I want to be like that. I want to do that. And so, yeah, no, there are certainly moments where you're like, God, I don't know if this is if this is worth it. But there was never a moment growing up that I wasn't kind of faced with the reality of what it is, but still didn't want to, go towards it. It's what you want to do.
That's true, absolutely. And what are your goals as an actor?
Great. I used to say, I don't know if this really applies anymore, but I used to say that my actor type was I would do all the parts that everybody was too, I guess, too chicken to do, in a way, where I did a lot of just completely bonkers characters. One of my last jobs, I had to cut my hair and make it into a mohawk for like 3 months. The job I did with my dad, my character doesn't have any eyes or any hands. You know, it's all just crazy, ridiculous characters that in a lot of ways are very scary to play. And so for me, I'm most interested in parts like that, parts that are out there and different and complicated and strange and maybe not necessarily even something that you're like, like I agree with this character in some ways, but I want to play something that I think makes you think. Obviously you want to work more, right? You want to be able to do everything that you can. I'd love to be doing TV stuff. I'd love to be writing some more. There's a strike right now, so we can't do either. But yeah, I have a lot of big kind of lofty aspirations. But you try to be like, okay, one step at a time, right?
Exactly. And do you prefer acting in a play or in film and television?
It's tricky, right? They're different in a lot of ways and then similar in a lot of ways. I definitely do a lot more plays and theater than I do TV and film. But I think because I haven't done as much film and TV, I kind of want that more. Because I think that's something that I think it'd be A, something that I'm pretty good at, and B, exciting and new and trying different things out like that. That's you can kind of tell that's the thing that I most get excited for, a new sort of challenge.
Yeah. And do you have any upcoming projects like of your own of directing, producing something, personal projects, so to speak?
Yeah. I do have some personal stuff. Nothing that I know. I don't know if I can really say any of it right now. Just because we've got people that are kind of excited about it in some ways, but don't want to spoil things or don't want to let loose. But there's a couple of different projects. Me and my best buddy Ryan, who I'm sure if you've looked at any of my stuff, he's all over my Instagram account and YouTube. Him and I are working on several different scripts that we would really love to get some funding for and produce, and that's what everybody says. But I think we're kind of close to something. So maybe maybe by this time next year we'll be having a different conversation, and I can tell you a little more. But right now I can't. As annoying as that is, because I know everybody's like,
Well, we will.
See?
And I'll be sure. I'll be checking it whenever you can share. I'll be there to see it.
I appreciate that.
And my final question is, if you have any tips for people who want to become actors.
Yeah. This is the tip that I've always said, and it was something that I kind of wished I knew more about, is the fastest way, I think, to really getting yourself out there and becoming an actor and working and doing it professionally is to surround yourself with other actors and other creators that you think are talented. And it's not just because, you'll be working around them and you'll work with them and you'll be more talented. Of course, you'll learn things, but it's also the sense that those actors and those writers and those directors that you put time into spending around, they will probably get representation. They will probably have opportunities for themselves. And if you work hard and you're lovely and you're a nice person and you do good, those people will think of you when it comes to opportunities that will come their way. So you put yourself out there and you really, it's a social job. It's a job that you don't have to be extroverted, certainly not, but you do need to kind of learn how to be nice with people, play along. You have to be able to work well. And I think at least for me, all of the opportunities that I've had in my life have come from friends that I've made from acting classes or from scenes and plays and other things that they were like, hey, you're really good. This thing that we're talking about would be great for you. You should come and do it. It's stuff like that, you know? That's how I really think, I believe you build up a career for yourself.
That's a great tip. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a really scary, daunting job, I think. Nobody really knows how to make it work. And it's an impossible, it's different for everybody. That's the thing, is that it's different for everybody. But I do think just you put energy out into the world, right? If you are a nice person and you work hard and you're talented, people notice that kind of thing. And the idea is to always be, if you can't be acting right now, figure out a way to write, figure out a way to direct, figure out a way to produce. There are so many different things that you can do that involve yourself in this community. And people just notice when you work hard and you're a good guy or girl or whatever, you know?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It was great chatting with you, really. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, of course. Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
It was a huge pleasure, and I will be checking out your future projects.
Well, thanks. Of course.